Hey gorgeous, welcome to your cardio yoga flow. This yoga practice is going to be turning things up a little bit. So let's go ahead and get ready to pump that blood, get the circulatory system moving, and maybe get a little bit of that sweat on. So let's go ahead and grab our mats and let's flow. All right, wonderful. Let's go ahead and start by lying down flat on our back. So go ahead and roll down vertebra by vertebra. And what we're going to do is we're going to inhale our arms up overhead, and then we're going to slowly start to pull our right side of our body open as we lean our ligaments, so our arms and our legs, over to the left side. And you can cross the right ankle on top. You can interlace the fingers if that feels right. And this is just a nice little side stretch to kick things off today. Today's practice is a cardio flow, so we're going to start triggering in a little bit of that internal heat, get that heart rate moving a bit, but I always want to invite you to remember that this yoga flow is just meant to be a guide, and you are your own best judge of what feels right in your body, so we can always go back to home base, which is a child's pose or a downward dog, and just take a minute or pause the video, whatever it is that you feel like you need today. Just tune in, be super aware of what feels good in your body, and then go ahead and switch the other side. So we're going to go ahead and pull over to the other direction. We could go ahead and stack that left foot now on top of the right, just feeling that nice side stretch here in the body. Breathing deep. Just giving ourselves this moment to calm and to center before we begin. Taking some deep breaths. And perhaps setting intention for today to continue on with this deep breathing throughout today's practice. When things start to get tough or we start moving faster, a lot of us have the propensity to hold our breath more. So let's go ahead and invite ourselves to make a commitment to continue on with this deep breathing. And that's really what makes it yoga, is when we're connecting that movement with breath and awareness. And it's within that state of equanimity and balance that we're able to create that inner awareness. So even though today's practice might be a little bit quicker pace, let's commit to having things be slow in the inside, to be focused, to be aware. And when you're ready, go ahead and come into a straight line, taking a pulse here for a moment by pulling your feet away and your arms in the opposite direction here, elongating the body. And then we're going to go ahead and roll this time over our shoulder and onto our belly. And what we're going to do is pick up our right foot, and we're going to go ahead and extend those toes almost as though they could touch our fingertips on the one side. So this is a beautiful stretch. We can tent our fingers if that feels right. Just opening up the body here. Should feel like a great stretch in this top of the leg, in the chest. And switch, pulling it to the other side. Go ahead and tent those fingers. The toes come back. See if you can touch the ground. Maybe it's still hanging in the air. That's okay. Finding your own degree. Slowly rolling back, now placing your fingertips on either side of the mat here, slightly about 6 inches in front of you. And we're just going to find some dynamic floats here, coming up, rising through the chest, being kind and compassionate with the body as we just move slowly and sweetly. Maybe finding a little bit more length as you feel your body starting to warm up. Wonderful. And then bringing your hands to either side of your chest, slowly start to rise up, coming into a tabletop position here. We're going to tuck the toes, sink back into the toes, opening up here into an extended arms child's pose. And then slowly starting to rise up, coming to a tabletop position here. What we're going to go ahead and do is extend those right toes out behind us, and we can cross it behind our body, giving a nice little side stretch, continuing on with our warm-up series here. Breathing deep. And then drawing that foot back, let's go ahead and lift those toes off the ground, flexing the foot almost as though I'm pushing up against a wall, releasing the left hand out and extend. And let's go ahead and find some dynamic movement here, bringing it into touch. Extend out and bringing it in. Start stoking the fires of that internal heat. And 8. Bringing it out, extending here. Check it out. We're going to bend that right leg and see if we can reach back with the left and clasp the toes. Now, if that's not quite in our wheelhouse yet, you can stay in that sunbird pose, whatever feels right for you. But just test it. See, test the water. See if you can find that connection, opening up that chest, and release coming down. We're going to find a couple of cat-cows here, dropping the tummy. Inhale, gaze goes to the sky. Exhale, pushing through. Continuing with your own flow, as this is a cardio yoga. We're kicking it up a notch, maybe finding a little bit more of that dynamic movement. Moving a little bit faster with the breath. Inhale forward, exhale back. Beautiful. Now we're going to go ahead and extend those left toes out, reach them behind, having that nice little side stretch before we start the movement of our sunbird. Breathing deep. Drawing it on back, we're going to go ahead and lift those left toes into the sky, making sure that we have that flexed foot energy through the toes, almost as there's a wall behind me, releasing that right hand out. And then let's go ahead, once we feel that stability, bringing it in, and inhale, extension. As I exhale, I contract. As I inhale, I broaden and open. Eight. Beautiful. Next time, staying open, testing the balance here. See if you can go ahead and release and reach behind to clasp those fingers, opening up the chest if it feels right. Three, two, one, release. Go ahead and tuck those toes together, coming back into an extended child's pose. Settling down the breath for a moment, calming the heart rate. And then slowly rising back up. We're going to go ahead and tuck the toes here, drawing the knees off the mat. Breathing deep. And then lowering them down. Drawing up, lower down. And just building a little bit of warmth here. Testing the balance. Might notice that your shoulders are right over top of your wrists. Beautiful. When you're ready, let's go ahead and kick those hips up to the sky, coming into a downward dog. And this is our first downward dog of the day, so let's go ahead and walk the dog out. We're going to paddle those feet. Go ahead, and I invite you to elevate, coming onto your tippy toes. Allow both heels to fall to one side. Inhale, rising up with those heels to the sky onto our tippy toes, and allow the heels to gently drape over to the left. Heels up to the sky and lowering down. Creating a little bit of a shorter distance here, maybe 3 or 4 feet away from your feet, so that you can reach back, testing your balance by touching your right ankle. Switch opposite direction. Right hand comes back, touches the left. And go ahead and find some dynamic flow here, moving at your own time, your own pace. Maybe if you'd like a little bit of an extra stretch, you can look underneath that armpit. Building a little heat here. Working on our flexibility and mobility all at the same time. Beautiful. And go ahead and walk all your way back to the feet here. My hands are going to come and meet my feet at the back of the mat. Bending generously here. My tummy is resting on my legs, and then we're going to bend, roll up. Taking a step out now to the edge of your mat. Toes are going to point out towards the corners. We're going to inhale our arms up overhead. Exhale, bending down. Finding this nice deep squat here. We're going to inhale, pulling a ball of energy into our chest. Exhale, allow it to fall up ahead. Inhale and exhale. Bending nice and deep now. You might notice that we're engaging our tailbone by engaging our core and keeping everything really over top, making sure that our knees are going over our ankles, and you can just check yourself here for a moment, making sure that we're staying in alignment, being kind to our bodies. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, go ahead and keep those arms out, and we're just gonna go ahead and have a little bit of bounces, bouncing the legs and circling the arms. It's the simple movement sometimes that really start to build that heat. So see if you can breathe through it. And then switch opposite way. So my arms are going to go ahead and be pulsing small circles to the back. You're doing great. See if you can go a little bit deeper. Let's challenge ourselves here. Remember why we decided to hit the mat today. We made a conscious decision to be here and to shine. And 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and kick those heels out. We're going to place our hands onto our hips, slowly start to hinge at the hips, coming to a flat back. Taking a pulse here for a moment, and then exhale, release, shoom, all the way down to the ground. Feels so good. And if we like, we can go ahead and have a micro bend at the knee, whatever feels right for you. And I invite you to slowly walk your hands behind you and reach out behind. Might want to give a little bit of a shake of the head, just making sure we're not holding any tension there. Breathing deep. And we're going to slowly start to walk up to the center of the mat. And then we're going to turn our energy over to that right foot. And we're going to come into a high lunge here. And we're going to go ahead, place our feet flat on the ground, stepping back into a high plank. Taking that foot now, the left opposite, bringing it in and stepping into left lunge. Just taking a pulse here to stretch out those legs before we start our flow. And then stepping back into high plank and then downward dog. And then let's go ahead and release that right foot off the mat, just about a foot or two, if that feels right for you. Otherwise, if you want to challenge yourself, you can bring it up a little bit higher. Just making sure that our energy is staying towards the ground. So my toes are pointing to the ground. And then exhale, I'm going to draw my knee into my chest and then pull it through once more. Inhale, once we find that stability, rising up to a high crescent, energy through the fingertips, engaging my tailbone and my core, shoulders down, fingertips elongated, feeling that nice deep stretch. And then let's windmill it open, coming down with that back heel into warrior two. Let's take a pulse here to just go ahead and find alignment, making sure that our heel is in line, creating that nice straight configuration. I'm going to roll my shoulders back, sinking nice and deep into this front knee. Breathe. And let's go ahead, flip that front palm to the sky, lean in a little deep here, exhale over, reclined warrior. Inhale, bringing that right elbow to right knee and coming up for a side angle pose. Breathing nice and deep here. And slowly pushing it back into a reclined warrior. And then windmilling our way all the way down. Taking that right foot, pulling it back, coming into a high plank for a moment, holding here, then pushing up to downward dog. All right, wonderful ladies, let's go ahead and take 3 deep breaths here. So finding this comfortable position where we're pushing back through the downward dog, and you might be saying, comfortable, what the heck? I guarantee you one day this will feel like home base as we start to grow our practice. So let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths in through the nose and out the mouth. In through the nose and out the mouth. One more time, inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and rise that left leg up to the sky, drawing it into the chest. Taking a moment here into your high plank, feeling that stability. And when you're ready, inhale to rise. And then sink down nice and deep. Always remembering to engage our tailbone and our core, almost as though we could pull that tailbone down into the ground. We're going to make sure that we're leaning deep into that right knee over the ankle. Taking a moment here. You might notice that I have a little micro bend in my knee. That's what feels right for me. You can extend it if you like, but just really tuning into the body as always. Feeling into where you feel like you're growing that strength and you're finding your edge. And then let's go ahead and windmill our arms open into warrior two here, taking a pulse to just go ahead and find that alignment. So we want to make sure that our 2 heels are in a straight line, bending deep into this knee, and then we're going to make sure that our arms are on a flat plane so they have an equanimity and stability. Breathing deep. Flip that front palm to the sky, leaning forward here slightly. Exhale as we come to reverse warrior. Inhale, coming to side angle, bringing that elbow on top of knee. Inhale, your arm up to the sky. Breathing deep. And then let's go ahead and find that reverse warrior once more. And then windmill all the way down into that high lunge, pulling back into the plank pose here, just making sure that we take a moment here to ensure that we have stability before pushing it up into downward dog for a moment, and then rolling through back to that high plank. Now we're going to go for that Chaturanga again, so you have the option to lower down to the knees or challenging yourself, drawing in the elbows to our sides, lowering down. Untucking the toes here. Inhale as we rise, cobra. to our own degree, pulling in those elbows, lowering down, pulling those shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, release, tucking the toes and sending the energy back into downward dog. Inhale, gaze goes to the top of the mat, and we can step or hop here to the front of the mat. Nice and light, quiet as a field mouse. Opening up those legs now about shoulder distance apart. And we're just going to find a gentle sway here for a moment. I've got my hands on either side of my elbow. Just rocking and rolling here for a moment. Feeling that suppleness of the body, that pliability. And then generously go ahead and place your hands on the ground, bend the knees and roll up vertebra by vertebra, heads coming up last. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale as we break through center, swan dive forward. Inhale, halfway lift as we bring the hands up to the shins, flat back. Exhale, coming on down. Stepping back into your downward dog. Inhale the right toes off the ground, bringing them in. We're going to go ahead and touch sweetly that knee to our right elbow, drawing that foot back, pulling that knee across the body, touching the left. Pull that knee back. Inhale to the center. Pull that knee back. And then we're going to go ahead and pull the knee in to the right elbow. Pulling back, three-legged dog, cross, and then open. Last time into the center of the body, holding in tight, and down. Whoo, feels good, right, ladies? Building a little bit of cardio. Lifting the left now. Let's go ahead and flip it on the other side. We're going to touch left knee to left elbow, coming back into three-legged dog. Pulling in across the body. Three-legged dog. Pulling in that knee to chest and out. Last round. Here we go. Opening up. Cross. And open. And pulling through. And slowly lower sweetly down. And remember, you can always take a child's pose here if you need a break. This is your practice. When you're ready, let's go ahead and release those right toes off the ground. Pulling through. I promise those are over. We're just going to step nice and easy into that high crescent. Inhale our arms up. Opening to warrior two. Pulling back into reverse warrior. Coming back into side angle here. This time, let's go ahead and send those fingertips out and across the body. Energy pulling. And coming back into that reverse warrior, windmilling all the way down, coming back into a high plank for a pulse, then up to downward dog, back to high plank, picking your chaturanga, knees, chest, chin, or lowering all the way down, coming into upward dog or cobra, whatever feels right for you, tucking the toes, rising up, pulling the left all the way through, stepping, taking a moment here, rise up, opening to our warrior two, digging deep into that front knee, flipping the palm, reversed warrior, coming back, elbow to knee, drawing up, and then send the energy over top for that side angle, full extension, coming back, reverse warrior, floating all the way down onto the toes, taking a moment here, stepping back into downward dog, rolling forward, lowering down, upward dog or baby cobra, lowering down, tucking the toes, coming on up. Taking a few deep breaths here, inhale and exhale. Gaze goes to the front of the mat, either step or walk, whatever feels right for you. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, come up, root to rise. We're going to exhale here by reaching behind us. So reach with your arms nice and wide behind the right shoulder. Inhale, both arms up to the sky.
Exhale over your left. Inhale, both up to the sky. And then we're going to go ahead and step our feet out. Both toes are pointed to the edge of the mat. And I'm going to go ahead and lower down to Malasana. Now, we can use a block here if this feels a bit intense for us. And if we want to stay here, I really invite you to do so. Otherwise, we're just going to continue on with a little bit of this dynamic movement. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Inhale and exhale. Taking your time. Elongating the body. Keeping that core engaged, the tailbone tucked in, building that heat. And then staying down. Woo! Hopefully you're feeling a little bit of that cardio flow, that beautiful heat within. We're gonna go ahead and sit down. And you can grab your knees and let's rock and roll. Beautiful, and this time staying down. We're not quite done yet, but we are so close. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to extend our right leg, making sure that our back stays flat with the mat. So when we extend the right leg, you might notice that I'm off the ground still. I'm gonna lift my shoulder blades off the ground, and I'm gonna point in the direction of that bent leg. And then I'm gonna switch, and then switch. My feet are flexed, energy throughout the toes. Shoulder blades are lifted, working on a little bit of that core, that oblique strength. Keeping that back flush to the mat. You got it. Remember connecting in with that intention to carry on with those nice deep breaths to finish strong. And 3, and 2, and 1. Beautiful job lowering down here. Let's go ahead and stretch those tummies a little bit, touching our fingertips to the top of our ankles here. Let's go ahead and rise up, lower down vertebra by vertebra. Rise up and lower down. Rise up, this time staying, really drawing those elbows in, opening the chest. Perhaps if it feels right for you, we could rise up onto our tippy toes. And maybe it doesn't, that's okay too. Whatever feels right for you. 3, 2, 1, rolling down. Beautiful job, ladies. Drawing those knees into your chest, perhaps opening to a happy baby, grabbing your big toes with your peace fingers, and maybe extending one leg straight and then the other, if that feels right for you. Beautiful. When you're ready, drawing everything in. And let's go ahead and allow both our knees to float to the left side. Cactus arms, if that feels right for you. And gaze goes in the opposite direction. Inhale, rise, bringing the knees to chest. And switch opposite direction. Gaze goes over your shoulder. And just feel the sweetness of starting to slow down the heart rate, receiving all the benefits of that movement. And I love yoga because not only is it exercise, it's an inner size. It's creating that inner awareness, that inner glow, calming our mind, our spirits, bringing both knees into your chest once more, drawing everything up. Squeeze as tight as you can. Squeeze your fingers, squeeze your face, squeeze your arms, squeeze your core. Tight, tight, tight. 3, 2, 1, release. Shoo. Coming into Shavasana, final resting pose of the day. Perhaps our favorite, especially after that practice. So drawing the shoulders in, just feeling if you need to kind of move around for a minute, just get yourself super comfortable. This is your time. And then when you lay down and find stillness, I invite you to tune into the body. Make sure you're not holding any tension in the face, the hands, the arms. A lot of times we have the tendency to want to skip the soft stuff, especially when we're on a wellness journey. We really want to hit it hard, go into the extremes, but yoga asks us to refrain from that, to find our perfect balance, to find that perfect edge. And that's truly where we come and connect with sustainability. So in these practices, if you feel like, I didn't quite do 110%, or I wasn't able to complete today's practice, that's okay. This is about a journey and not a destination. So as long as we're showing up on the mat, as long as we are trying and investing in our health and wellness, then that's a win. And you are getting there each and every decision you make to be a little bit healthier, to be a little bit more mobile, all of these things, to take the stairs, to swap out for water instead of soda. These are the steps that are really going to get us there. These are the steps that are creating that lifestyle transformation. So I hope that you have nothing but gratitude for yourself, for showing up today, for taking this time, for loving your body, this beautiful place that we get to call home. When you're ready, I invite you to slowly begin wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, reach your arms up overhead. Give me that nice, beautiful, elongated stretch as though somebody was pulling your fingers and your toes away from each other. And slowly rolling onto your side, sweetly but kindly rising up. Finding a comfortable seated position, I invite you to bring your hands to heart center, begin rubbing those palms together, creating that heat and light within. And taking those palms, clasp them over your heart, and I invite you just to find gratitude for the beating of your heart, the rise and fall of your chest, and all of these things that are happening without our awareness oftentimes. All these millions of micro miracles taking place, and how we were able to quicken that heart rate to give ourselves this gift of endorphins, of movement, of focus and presence of mind. When you're ready, slowly opening your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you enjoyed today's practice and that it sets you on a course for a beautiful rest of your day. We'll see you next time on the mat.